International. ICR 1.00 Authority. ICR 1.01 The International Committee is a permanent committee pursuant to Article 16, Section 1, of the U.S. Figure Skating Bylaws. ICR 2.00 Organization. ICR 2.01 The International Committee, IC, will be organized into 3 discipline groups, 1 each for the disciplines of ice, dance, pairs and singles, discipline groups. The IC will have a chair and 3 discipline-specific vice chairs, 1 vice chair for each of the discipline groups. ICR 2.02 Each discipline group will have the following members: 13. A. The chair of the IC. B. The immediate past chair of the IC. C. 1 discipline-specific vice chair. D. 1 discipline-specific coach representative. E. 2 discipline-specific athlete representatives, at least one of whom has competed in an ISU championship. 1. Athlete representatives must not be competing in any qualifying or international competitions in the season in which they serve on the IC and must not have competed in any qualifying or international competitions in the season immediately prior to serving on the IC. F1 discipline-specific ISU official. G3 discipline-specific sectional representatives, 1 from each section. H. The Athlete Services Group Coordinator. I. The Chair of the Athletes Advisory Committee. J. The ISU Representative. ICR 2.03 The International Committee, IC, will have a 5-member management subcommittee, ICMS, that will consist of A. The Chair of the IC. B. The immediate past chair of the IC. 1. In the event the IC immediate past chair is unavailable to serve on the ICMS, the ICMS may fill that vacancy with another member of the IC. C. The Athlete Services Group Coordinator. D. The Chair of the Athletes Advisory Committee. E. The ISU Representative. ICR 2.04 Conflict of Interest. Should any member serving on any level of the IC or ICMS have a conflict of interest, the member will recuse him, herself from the decision-making process in all matters in which the conflict exists. ICR 3.00 Responsibilities. ICR 3.01 International Committee. A. The mission of the International Committee, IC, is to select the U.S. figure skating team that wins the maximum number of international medals and berths possible by strategically providing experience and exposure to qualified members of the U.S. figure skating team, and by identifying and supporting the best qualified future prospects to develop and achieve the ultimate goal of Olympic and world podium results. B. To accomplish this mission, the IC exercises responsibilities described below, with other responsibilities delegated to the International Committee Management Subcommittee, ICMS, as described in ICR 3.02. C. The responsibilities of the ICR. 1. To approve criteria proposed and used to select international competitions in singles, pairs and ice dance. 2. To recommend international competitions, based on the approved criteria. 3. To approve criteria proposed and used to select and enter member athletes in all international competitions, ISU championships, and the Olympic Winter Games. 4. To select athletes to compete in all international competitions and ISU championships and 2. Athletes for nomination to the United States Olympic Committee, USOC, for entry to compete in the Olympic Winter Games. A. In-person meetings and/or conference calls will be conducted for each discipline group to determine the selections. B. The IC chair and/or the appropriate discipline-specific vice chair will be responsible for outlining and providing to the respective discipline groups an explanation of the slate of athletes, teams selected for nomination for each discipline, and competition, if needed. 5. To issue sanctions for member athletes to participate in skating activities in foreign countries, excluding Canada. 6. Any related or other responsibilities identified in ICR 3.033.06. Note: actions of the IC are taken by action of each discipline group. A 2/3 majority of the members of a discipline group will constitute a quorum in order for a discipline group to take action. Action by a discipline group will be determined by a 2/3 majority approval of the members actually voting. In cases of an emergency, decisions with less than 24-hour notice, where immediate action is required, a simple majority of a discipline group will constitute a quorum to take action, and action will be determined by a simple majority approval of the members actually voting. ICR 3.02 International Committee Management Subcommittee. The responsibilities of the International Committee Management Subcommittee, ICMS, are a. To provide final approval on selection procedures, competition readiness requirements and which international competitions will be attended by the U.S. figure skating team, sometimes referred to as Team USA. B. To approve the criteria for receiving elite athlete health insurance with final approval given by the appropriate headquarters staff. C. To govern the athletes selected and entered per ICR 3.01c, 4, and to withhold or withdraw selection of an athlete from any assignment. 1. For failure to abide by the applicable rules, policies and procedures of U.S. figure skating and, if applicable, the USFSA. 2. For conduct in violation of GR 1.01, GR 1.02 or GR 1.03, or for any false statements or misrepresentations on documentation, contracts and/or agreements, and/or 3. For acting in a manner not deemed appropriate for a member of the U.S. figure skating team. D. To provide final approval for the disbursement of the funds from the U.S. Figure Skating Athlete Support Program, USAP. E. Any related or other responsibilities identified in ICR 3.033.06. Note, a 2/3 majority of the members of the ICMS will constitute a quorum in order for the ICMS to take action. Action by the ICMS will be determined by a 2/3 majority approval of the members actually voting. ICR 3.03 Selection of competitions. The IC will select annually the international competitions for singles, pairs and ice dance in which U.S. figure skating will participate. Such competitions will be announced either through Skating Magazine or on usfigureskating.org. A. During the course of the skating season, the ICMS may add international competitions not previously selected, subject to the availability of financing. B. The ICMS may withdraw the U.S. team from a previously selected international competition for reasonable cause at any time during the course of the skating season. ICR 3.04 United States Figure Skating Team. The U.S. figure skating team consists of the singles, pairs and ice dance athletes, team leaders, coaches, medical staff and judges selected by U.S. figure skating to participate in all international competitions, ISU championships and the Olympic Winter Games for the international competition season of July 1 to June 30. ICR 3.05 Team Envelope and International Selection Pool. A. The team envelope, which is a funding model, consists of athletes for each of the singles, pairs and ice dance disciplines who are identified as having competitive potential to win medals in international, world and Olympic competition. The IC will approve the criteria annually to name athletes to the team envelope. The criteria to be used will be published before each international competition season. The ICMS will name the athletes to the team envelope for the appropriate discipline based on the criteria approved by the IC. Athletes must be re-nominated to the team envelope annually. B. The International Selection Pool, ISP, consists of athletes for each of the singles, pairs and ice dance disciplines who are identified by each discipline group of the IC as being considered for international assignment. ICR 3.06 Selection of athletes. For each competition season, the ICMS will present the selection procedures for the ISU championships to the U.S. Figure Skating Board of Directors for approval. In addition, and at the appropriate time, the ICMS will also present the selection procedures for the Olympic Winter Games to the U.S. Figure Skating Board of Directors for approval. Selection procedures for the Olympic Winter Games will be prepared per the requirements of the USFSA. The complete approved selection procedures will be posted on usfsonline.org. Each discipline group of the IC will select the athletes for the appropriate discipline to all international competitions and ISU championships, and will nominate the athletes to the Olympic Winter Games based on the approved selection procedures. A. To compete internationally on behalf of U.S. figure skating, a skater must be a member in good standing of U.S. figure skating and must meet the current requirements of the ISU and/or International Olympic Committee for participation in international competitions. B. The number of athletes selected will not exceed the number of entries permitted by ISU regulations, but may be fewer. See compliance rules. Permission to compete in any competition selected per ICR 3.03 is a privilege predicated upon the athlete signing appropriate U.S. figure skating contracts or agreements and thereby agreeing to abide by the official rules of U.S. figure skating and the USOC, if appropriate, and any other such rules, regulations, obligations and codes of conduct contained in the contracts or agreements. 1. Selection to compete in all international competitions, ISU championships and the Olympic Winter Games will not be official, and athletes may not participate until each has executed the documentation, contracts and agreements required by U.S. figure skating and, if applicable, the USOC. ICR 3.07 Arrangements and Logistics. All arrangements and logistics, travel, housing, team apparel, etc., for each competition for the U.S. figure skating team will be made by the Team USA coordinator in cooperation with the IC chair. ICR 4.00 Reserved. ICR 5.00 Organization of the Synchronized Management Subcommittee. ICR 5.01 The Synchronized Management Subcommittee, SMS, derives its authority from the International Committee. ICR 5.02 The Synchronized Management Subcommittee consists of the International Committee Chair, the International Committee Immediate Past Chair, the Athlete Services Group Coordinator, the Synchronized Skating Committee Chair, 1 International Synchronized Skating Coach, 3 Synchronized Skating Athletes who are not actively competing and 5 at-large members. In addition, the Synchronized Management Subcommittee Immediate Past Chair and the Synchronized Skating Committee Immediate Past Chair are ex officio members of this subcommittee. The International Committee Chair will appoint the SMS Chair from among the members of this subcommittee. ICR 5.03 Conflict of Interest. Should any member serving on the SMS have a conflict of interest, the member will recuse herself from the decision-making process in all matters in which the conflict exists. ICR 5.04 Responsibilities of the Synchronized Management Subcommittee. A. The mission of the SMS is to select the U.S. synchronized skating team that wins the maximum number of international medals and berths possible by strategically providing experience and exposure to qualified members of the U.S. synchronized skating team, and by identifying and supporting the best qualified future prospects to achieve the ultimate goal of world podium results. B. To accomplish this mission, the responsibilities of the SMS are: 1. To approve criteria proposed and used to select international competitions in synchronized skating. 2. To approve criteria proposed and used to select and enter member teams in all international synchronized skating competitions, the ISU World Synchronized Skating Championships and the ISU World Junior Synchronized Skating Championships. 3. To select synchronized teams to compete in all international synchronized skating competitions, the ISU World Synchronized Skating Championships and the ISU World Junior Synchronized Skating Championships. 4. Any related or other responsibilities identified in Rules ICR 5.055.09. Note: a 2/3 majority of the members of the voting members of the SMS will constitute a quorum to take action. Action by the SMS will be determined by a 2/3 majority approval of the members actually voting. In cases of an emergency decisions with less than 24-hour notice, where immediate action is required, a simple majority of the SMS will constitute a quorum to take action, and action will be determined by a simple majority approval of the members actually voting. ICR 5.05 Selection of synchronized competitions. The SMS will select annually the international competitions for synchronized skating in which U.S. figure skating will participate. During the course of the season, the SMS may add international competitions not previously selected, subject to the availability of funding. ICR 5.06 United States Synchronized Skating Team. The United States Synchronized Skating Team consists of the synchronized athletes, team leaders, coaches, medical staff and judges selected by U.S. figure skating to participate in all international competitions and ISU championships for the international competition season of July 1 to June 30. ICR 5.07 Synchronized Skating Team Envelope. A synchronized skating team envelope consists of teams identified by the SMS as having demonstrated competitive potential to win medals in international and world competition during the prior season. Teams must be re-nominated to the team envelope annually. A. The SMS will approve the criteria to name teams to the team envelopes and must publish the criteria before the competitive season. B. The SMS will name the teams to the envelopes based on the approved criteria. ICR 5.08 International Selection Pool. The International Selection Pool, ISP, consists of teams identified by the SMS as being considered for international assignment. Criteria for selection to the ISP will be developed annually by the SMS. ICR 5.09 Selection of synchronized teams. For each competition season, the SMS will present the selection procedures for the ISU World Synchronized Skating Championships and the ISU World Junior Synchronized Skating Championships to the U.S. Figure Skating Board of Directors for approval. The complete approved selection procedures will be posted on usfsonline.org. The SMS will select the synchronized teams to the ISU World Synchronized Skating Championships and the ISU World Junior Synchronized Skating Championships based on the approved selection procedures. A. The SMS will select the teams for all international competitions. B. Selection to compete in all international competitions and ISU championships will not be official and teams may not participate until each has executed the documentation, contracts and agreements required by U.S. figure skating and, if applicable, the USOC. C. The number of teams selected must not exceed the number of entries permitted by ISU regulations, but the entries may be fewer. D. The SMS may withdraw teams from previously selected international competitions for reasonable cause at any time during the course of the skating season. ICR 5.10 Arrangements and Logistics. All arrangements and logistics, travel, housing, team apparel, etc., for each competition for the U.S. Synchronized Skating Team will be made by headquarters in cooperation with the SMS chair,